You're listening to Never Heard of It, a Night Shift Radio production.
So I was thinking that today was going to be like the real test because just before I came in here to start recording, my neighbors were just bumping some jams.
Hell yeah, dude.
But either I really can't hear it from in here or they have stopped. Either way, I guess that's a win.
I mean, that's a good test. That was like the worst part of like recording, like where I was previously, like in my apartment. Like I was in my living room. It was a huge open space. I was right next to the front door, like in the hallway, so people would be like walking by, my dog would bark.
Yeah.
It was Oh man, there's substantially less dog barking in the more newer in our past 3 months of episodes. I have
That's
to
nice.
say, yeah.
Especially now that there are two of them.
Mm-hmm. And one of them is literally a bear. It is secretly a. So we had a bunch of bookshelves delivered to us, and the delivery person, when he pulled up, the Bernese, it's a Bernese Mountain Dog by the name of Professor James Moriarty, or we call him Maury for short.
That's great.
And the delivery guy pulled up, and he was at the door, like, ready to hand us the bookshelves, and he's like, is it a nice dog? We're like, yeah, he's a very nice dog. He's like, he's a small bear. We're like, yes, he is in fact a small bear. He's huge.
Yeah.
But he's just a big old teddy bear, and I love him to death. And I just want to squish his face every time I see him, and I do.
I don't
every
blame
day.
You.
Yeah.
He's just so squeezable looking.
He is. He's great. Wait till you meet him. But hey, Caleb.
Hey.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
That being said, hello and welcome to the Never Heard of It podcast. I'm your host, Michael Fight.
And I am Caleb F6 Coy.
F5. And we're here to talk about the movie Christmas Twister, which was also titled F6 Twister.
Yeah, it was.
Which I think is really interesting because I get that it's about an F6 at some point, but it takes place during Christmas time. Like Christmas Twister is such a more apt like description because like F6 Twister, it's just boring. That's a boring title.
Yeah, I mean Christmas Twister is the more exciting title, and also it makes it a Christmas movie,
right?
Which it needs to be because otherwise it's just another disaster movie,
right?
And also like we'll get to it, but like there are even Christmas Twister is a bit misleading because there's a bunch of tornadoes in this movie.
There's a lot.
And only one of them is an F6, and so like like it's like you get there eventually. You do either way. But Christmas Twister,
I think the other title that could be for this is Christmas Climate Change Denial. Is that a
Oh, so we have so much to talk about, clearly.
We do.
First of all, I have to get right out of the way that I am so disappointed that we couldn't watch this movie in the same room together because there's so much that I just wanted to yell about.
Oh my God, there were so many things where I just like, what? I was like, come on. This was definitely like, so we went and saw Hurricane Heist in the theater. And for those of you who are longtime listeners, probably remember us talking about Hurricane Heist. But the thing is, we told the story of being in the theater, and it was a very, there wasn't a lot of people in the movies. And we told the theater of how we were laughing so hard that like the group of people in front of us kept turning around and looking at us. And eventually they kept being like, no, you're right. This is actually really funny. And they just started joining in and laughing too.
There was like 6 other people in the theater total. Yeah. And at first, like you could tell they were definitely annoyed with us, but then they realized like we really need to lean into this and like have fun with it because otherwise you're just like, why are you even here?
Why are you even here? Like nobody went to see Hurricane Heist or Christmas Twister, which I don't even think this made it to theaters, but nobody went and saw this movie and was like, all right, this is going to be a good action movie. I'm going to be like, oh, that was a cool scene. Like nobody went into this movie thinking this. Nobody, not even the actors. And you can tell
If IMDb is to be believed, which typically they are, this was a TV movie, and
Yeah.
I am not surprised at all. In fact, I would be surprised if this wasn't a like direct to Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh yeah.
Original.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a Sci-Fi Channel esque film. I'm not entirely sure if that was the case, but cast and looks make me definitely feel. First off, we're gonna bring it off right off the bat because it has to be said. How do you? How I need to know. So
Okay.
how do you release a movie, a whole ass movie, with like notable? Not I'm not saying. I mean, these are definitely D-list actors, but
How
notable
dare you?
actors. First off, Casper Van Dien's been in a movie called Acquitted by Faith. He
Oh
is a
my God.
D-list actor at this point, if not lower.
We definitely have to take some time to talk about Casper Van Dien's upcoming slate of movies
Oh God.
and the bizarre turn that his career has taken.
But you made a movie, you put it out to people,
Mm-hmm.
and the one thing that's like the big thing on the screen, how do you misspell the name of your own goddamn movie? It's in it's in the first thing you see. It says Chris Am's Twister. It doesn't say Christmas. It says Chris Am's, and they fucking left it in there. Like, how do
I'm
you
so mad
do
that I didn't catch that. You sent the screenshot.
I took a picture of it.
Really? I really need to take a moment to pick apart the poster for this film.
Oh boy.
Which so we learn at some point early on that the main characters, the family, Casper Van Dien and his wife and their two children, had moved to Texas from Chicago. So like outside of Fort Worth, probably about an hour outside of Fort Worth, Texas, from Chicago. There was some sort of career mishap. Casper's character made a bit too strong of a prediction, caused a bit of a panic. We never learned the exact details, but he was essentially laughed out of Chicago or whatever. So they end up with this. He's got this university job down in Texas, and she works at the local news station, and everything's fine. The poster is the Chicago skyline, superimposed on a what I can only imagine is a very angry lake, with waves crashing through downtown, in a manner that I'm not actually sure they could reach this angle. I don't know the Chicago skyline well enough, but I feel like this is wrong. But that said, it's superimposed on a backdrop of mountains, large epic mountains.
I mean, you're unaware of the mountains of Chicago, Caleb?
Oh yeah, the Great
visit
Chicago
them
Mountain Range. Yeah.
Yes, of course, I visit them every year.
And then
We
of
have a
course
winter home in Chicago mountains.
I hear the skiing and like in northern Chicago is great this time of year. But then superimposed, of course, is a massive tornado that is mostly smoke. Actually,
Is mostly just smoke and
it's
fire.
mostly smoke from the burning buildings of downtown Chicago. But as far as I can tell, the top of this twister reaches all the way into space. This is the most amazingly terrible
there's
movie
like-
poster I've
There's
ever
like
seen.
satellites up in space where it says F6 Twister, the
like, the
dark side
lightning
of
is-
nature.
The lightning looks like it's coming from the satellites.
So again, this movie takes place nowhere fucking near Chicago. They
No.
only mention, they don't even like flash back to Chicago. They literally
No.
just be like, oh, we moved from Chicago a couple of years ago. We've lived
You
here
don't want
for
a
a few
repeat of
years
what
now."
happened in Chicago, do you?
Yeah. Also, what is his job?
He is a storm researcher.
Right. So he's one of those guys that you're like, I gotta go into the office. He'd be like, what fucking office? Like, what do you even do? Like, give us a name of a building, an agency. Give
He
us your
works-
fucking title. Like,
He
what
works
do you
at a
do?
university. So and he has a doctorate,
Yeah.
or at least they referred to him as Doc.
Sure.
And as we learned recently from the Wall Street Journal, you can't actually be a doctor if you don't have a medical degree.
Oh yeah, I've learned that too. This
Fuck
poor
that guy.
kiddo. Yeah, fuck that guy. Dr. Joe
Uh,
Biden can be called Dr. Joe Biden for the rest of her fucking life. And whoever that twat was, I've already forgotten his name, and that's all you need to know.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve your remembrance. Yeah, so he like they refer to him as Doc, so presumably he has a PhD in something.
We have
and-
yet another Dr. Walker on our hands.
Yes,
He is Dr. Ethan Walker. So if you guys remember from Dr. Walker from last episode, The Visitor.
um, and he studies climate and is a strong advocate of climate change, which you love to see it.
Yeah,
Um,
it's great.
this
Great work.
we talked about this when we talked about Hurricane Heights too, which was a subtle climate change movie disguised as a big blockbuster summer action disaster film.
Yeah.
This was not subtle at all.
No, there was
This is
quite
very-
the few monologues that was like, as they look into the camera, climate change is caused by the abuse of power used throughout the history. It was like, got it. Thanks.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah. I was a fan.
Yeah. So he studies climate and specifically seems to be really knowledgeable about storms. So I don't actually know how well you can pinpoint and predict and even like measure tornadoes in real time. I don't. All that I'm aware of is that I've heard people refer to we believe a tornado touchdown in this area. The conditions were right for it, and there was damage, but without someone verifying this, we're not sure. I've heard that quite a bit.
Right.
When someone is like visually verifies or captures on film and whatnot, the evidence that a tornado exists, like that's when they say like, or tornado definitely hit here. Otherwise, they say like potentially damage from a tornado. This crew is really like eerily accurate in 2012 at predicting exactly when and where a tornado is going to hit, and we need that technology.
It's true. And the thing about it though, is even though they were very, very good at predicting where, they're using an incorrect scale for tornadoes. So in just a few years previous to 2012, I think it was 2008, the National Weather Service actually adopted a new way to, instead of saying F6 or F whatever, because it was based off a separate scale.
Mhm.
The scale is actually the what is it called? The Fujita scale, which was
remember
created
this.
in collaboration with Alan Pearson in 1971. So there's the Fujita scale. It goes from F0 to F5. Only one F6 has ever been recorded on record, and it was in Bridge Creek Moor in Oklahoma in 1999. But they no longer use this scale. The scale has actually been swapped over to what's called an EF scale.
Okay.
So this is this actually was changed fairly recently in 2008, I believe. So that's something to know. Oh yeah, yeah. I can't find the exact thing, but yeah, the scales were completely changed to EF in about 2008. So a little different now, not the way it used to be. But they're still using I guess they're using the wrong scale, but they are very accurate. And I have to say that these guys were eerily accurate. I can only assume because of Dr. Joe and Bill Harding pioneered this technology in 1996 by using Pepsi cans that they made into little fans. I am, of course, talking about the movie Twister. That is the plot of the movie Twister, and that was their goal. So thank you, Dr. Bill and Joe Harding, for trailblazing. Thank you, Dr. Bill and Joe Harding, for walking so Dr. Ethan Walker could run. That's what we're trying to say here.
That's exactly what we're trying to say. So of course the film opens on a scene of a family traveling, and they stop at a gas station to fill up, and it's a man, a woman, and a young woman So presumably husband, wife, and daughter. We don't know for sure, but
I
presumably.
think I get the general idea. Yeah.
I don't like assuming anymore.
Right. They've
And
kidnapped this kid and
yeah,
I don't know.
it's a very amicable kidnapping. The wife is complaining like, can't we just stop somewhere for the night? And the husband is me like, no, and like if we just keep going, we'll make it there by morning, and like it'll be fine. Like
no stopping, no stopping, no stopping.
he's very calm, but like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, manic. Like, yeah, we keep going. Right, we'll make it. We're gonna get there, and like we just got to keep going. Like it's fine. I relate. And so he's like, you know what? You go get yourselves a slice of pie from the diner next door, which is very convenient. I love that there's a diner next door.
Yep.
Every roadside gas station needs a diner.
I agree.
And he's like, give me a cup of coffee. I'm like, oh, you're a brave man.
he still thinks he's driving all night long.
And so they go in, and he's filling gas, and like next thing you know, there's a tornado that's hitting, and like, this is December in Texas, like why is a tornado hitting? Of course, he runs to the diner and gets everyone out, and they run into a conveniently located shipping container right next to the diner, and shuts everybody in, and the tornado passes, destroys the gas station, destroys the diner, and everyone's safe because of this guy's quick thinking. And that's the last we see of him.
Yeah. Also, I want to point out, so he's in the diner. So the mom and daughter in the diner, there's like the waitress and maybe like two other patrons of this diner. Obviously, it's very late at night. I think they said it was like 1 a.m. or something. Like, it's
probably.
it's like the middle of the night. And they're in the diner, and he comes in and he was like, the National Weather Service goes on. It's like tornado warning. Like there's, everybody seek shelter immediately. And he comes running in and he's like, we gotta go. And so the waitress is like, being like, hey, there's a storm shelter in the back, like we need to go. And the guy is there like leaning in with his father, or leaning in with his family, but like nobody, like none of the other people go past him. Like they all stay in the diner waiting for this random guy, even though the waitress was like, follow me to the storm shelter. And then they're all just kind of standing there while he has his conversation with his family. And then she was like, sir, we really need to go. And he was like, then fucking go. Like, what do you do? Why are you waiting for this random dude? Just go and be like, follow me. And the worst part is he's the one who walks out of the diner first and leads everyone else. She's the one who knows where the fucking storm shelter is. Like, what are you doing, guy?
Listen, Michael, everyone knows in a disaster situation, you have to follow the manliest man.
Right. Follow the loudest white guy. That's definitely the way to go.
Oh, see, with those criteria, like it could potentially be me, and like, don't follow me in a disaster.
Right? Like, what are you doing? I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm gonna get louder by yelling that I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
And then people are gonna be like, he's very loud. We should follow him.
We should follow him. Like, no, I'm yelling. I don't know what I'm doing.
I have no idea what I'm doing. Why are you following me?
So after he steps out of the container, we get our misspelled title screen, which says Christum's Twister. I still fucking unbelievable. And again, like, this isn't even like a small budget film. That's what blows my mind. Like, this isn't a small budget film. Like, this had to have been at least 2 million. At least 2 million.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I can't. It's amazing. It's amazing that not only did someone make that mistake, but they left it in.
They left it. I mean, think of how many people screened this movie and was like, yeah, I'm sure it's fine. Like,
yeah, nobody will notice.
It's a lot of people. Like, a lot of people screen, like, trust me, dude, a lot of people screen movies before they go. Like, it isn't just like they throw the titles on it and then they're like, I'm sure it's fine. It's good. Like, at least 50 people watch the movie with the titles on it before it ever reaches anything. And everything's digital delivery nowadays, especially a movie that went straight to TV. It was so fucking easy to change shit like this. Like, it is literally just like, click, click, click. Okay, re-download the file, guys. Like, it's that fucking easy.
Where I will give them credit, though, after this scene of devastation at the gas station / diner,
yes,
there is like everything's on fire because
yep.
they hit the gas station. it does appear like it could possibly have been real fire. Now, mind you, it's very obviously CG'd into this scene, but it looks like they
they
took
record real fire
footage of real fire.
I wonder what oh shit, I've forgotten their names. What was their name? The
Polonia brothers.
Polonia brothers. I wonder what the Polonia brothers are up to now. We should send them a Christmas card. This will never.
I
not be
legit
funny.
almost just fell over.
This will never not be funny. It's fantastic. Oh boy. Yeah. So now we get the intro. Our thing has happened, and now we're cutting to it's a bed. We see two people sleeping in bed. The phone rings, and our main character, Ethan Walker, played by Casper Van Dien, which, by the way, Caleb, remind our listeners who Casper Van Dien is.
Oh, well, Casper Van Dien is most known for his role as Johnny Rico in Starship Troopers, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Yes. And I believe we did review that movie, did we not?
We did.
We certainly did.
Given his more recent career, so it's funny to me that he plays a climate scientist who very well understands and accepts and speaks out about climate change in this movie, because as we mentioned, his more recent slate of films in specifically in 2020 are things like The Second, where he plays a character like a FBI agent or something like that who's defending the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
One Nation Under God, where he has to defend the use of the phrase "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance. And then, of course, as you mentioned, was it Acquitted by Faith?
Yes.
Where he's a person who goes to jail and finds the lard. I mean, I read it earlier, but I don't care anymore. And this, Christmas Twister feels like a bright spot in that, because you see all of these things that he's doing or has done very recently, and all I can think is maybe he didn't know Starship Troopers was supposed to be.
I don't know. I think, I'll be honest, I think he just did those films because paycheck, because in 2019 he did a movie called Blood Metal Revenge, which the plot is Travis can never get back Brenda or his arm, but he can replace it with a biomechanical monstrosity, an asshole killing machine, a masterpiece of revenge. That is the coolest fucking synopsis of a movie ever. We are watching that movie in January.
That sounds very
How
incredible.
can we not watch that movie? And he plays the mad scientist in it. That looks fucking awesome. But also he plays Johnny Cage in the used to. Machinima isn't a thing anymore. But he was playing Johnny Cage in the YouTube Machinima Mortal Kombat series, the web series. Yeah, he was that for seasons 2 and 3. But yeah, I mean,
Alpha Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And G-Lock, what's G-Lock? I think I saw G-Lock. I think this was a Netflix movie. Bran flees the cold, uninhabitable Earth. He hopes to get to Rhea, colonized by humans 582 years ago. Rayans are against new arrivals from Earth. He boards a Rayan spaceship with a cute, feisty Rayan. Oh, it's a love story.
Look at that. It's a sci-fi love story.
Oh, shit. And that stars Stephen Moyer, who is Bill Compton from True Blood.
Oh, look at that. There's your True Blood connection.
There's my True Blood connection. Actually, just recently, about a week ago, they announced that they're going to rebooting True Blood.
Reboot.
Yeah, so they're going to reboot True Blood with Alan Ball executive producing. He was the showrunner before, and now it's the showrunner from Riverdale is now going to be the showrunner of True Blood, which interesting. I'm down. I mean, whatever. I'm all for trashy vampire anything. So,
hey, how bad do you think Alpha Wolf is?
Oh God, it's got to be fucking terrible. I can't wait. We could just do a whole month of Casper Van Dien crap films.
I mean, I'd do it.
Spectacular.
Oh my God.
And if you're looking for more films starring Casper Van Dien's daughter, check out The Binge, starring on Hulu. I worked on that film. Directly.
that's
no,
true.
was that the one she was in?
You don't even remember.
I don't even remember. I think it was her. It is Grace Van Dien. She is the main character. She's Sarah or whatever in The Binge. I don't know. I worked on the movie like a year ago. I don't remember.
I'm looking up now.
Yeah.
Why is this so slow?
Sorry, it was me. I'm crashing IMDb right now. Loading up all the brand new Night Shift Radio productions on there.
No. Oh, what?
Which is true. That's a real thing, by the way. I am doing that.
This is the wrong Grace Van.
This is the wrong Grace Van.
Grace Van Patten. There's Grace Van Dien.
Grace Van Dien. She was in The Binge.
And apparently The Village, but not the M. Night Shyamalan one.
Well, then I'm not interested anymore.
2019 with Nev Campbell.
I like Nev Campbell, but not interested anymore.
This looks like maybe a is it a Valentine's movie? We are so off track.
We are so far off track. We're in the wrong holiday. No Valentine's films. We're in Christmas, Caleb. God damn it.
No,
So-
I'm sorry. We're in Christmas.
I'm sorry. The stupid calendar is misprinted. It says Christmas. So where are we at? So Dr. Walker gets his phone call. Okay, I'll be into the office. You know, the wife wakes up, so the wife is played by Victoria Pratt. And this is our Superpod Hero cast connection. Victoria Pratt played Shalimar Fox in Mutant X, if you remember that show, which I definitely thought that was like a short-lived show, but it had 3 seasons. Mutant X lasted from 2001 to 2004, which is pretty fucking wild. I definitely thought it. I definitely do not remember it lasting that long, but I do remember watching it.
I definitely don't remember this show existing.
Yeah, no, Mutant X
When you
was
said it,
fucking
I
cool.
thought I did, but no, I definitely don't.
Yeah.
Is this-
It was really cool. So it supposedly like takes place like after X-Men. This is like this is more New Mutants than New Mutants. This is supposed to be like post X-Men universe, like in the future universe.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I think Havoc is part of this. So it's like Shalimar Fox, Jesse Kilmartin, Adam Kane. Mason Eckhart, Lexus Dominion. I swear that I'm not seeing them, but I swear that Havoc was part of this, but I guess not. I don't know. Mutant X. It was cool. It was produced by Avi Arad, who for those familiar, did all of the Avi Arad, obviously he was the creator of it, but you know, he's a comic book guy. From back in the day.
Wasn't he involved in like all of the X-Men and Spider-Man movies?
Yeah. Well, he's one of the creators. It's him, Stan Lee, and like one other guy who are like they were the ones who made Spider-Man and X-Men. Yeah. This would be we would have to call Casey and Todd in from the Superpod Hero cast to get all that background. But Mutant X, yeah. He was also on a show. She was also on a show called Daybreak, was on a show called Daybreak. She was in the movie Journey to the Center of the Earth with this is one of the many iterations of it, but this is the one with Peter Fonda. What else has she been in that people would remember? I think that's about it. That's like she's been in a bunch of things, but I would say that those are probably the most known. But I recognized her name right off the bat. I was like, oh, Victoria Pratt. I know that name. And then Richard Burgi, who gets top billing on this one. He's even on the poster. But he's a really minor character, but I don't he's known for Hostel Part 2, The Green Inferno, but I guess his big thing was he was in Desperate Housewives, so that's probably his like huge claim to fame.
Yes.
And then he was in the reboot of Friday the 13th.
He's one of those
which
people
is a
that, like,
weird connection.
I see him and I'm like, I know this guy, but then I scroll through his IMDb profile and like I have watched nothing that he's in.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
even,
he's
like-
definitely one of those people where I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen this guy, and then again, you look through this thing and you're like, I literally have no fucking clue who you are. I've seen none of these movies.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's
But
in like everything.
So interesting tie between Richard Burgi and another character in this movie who only has a couple of lines, Stephen Williams.
Mhm.
Stephen Williams was in the movie Jason Goes to Hell. Richard Burgi was in the reboot of Friday the 13th, so I guess kind of horror franchise. He's Creighton Duke. He's the one who eats the fucking heart.
Burgeye was in Starship Troopers 2, Hero of the Federation.
And for those of you who might be even cooler, there's a couple of things. So one, he was in the Blues Brothers. Two, he was in It. But three, and most importantly, he's fucking Mr. X from the X-Files.
Wait, you're on
Stephen Williams.
Stephen Williams? Okay, like
Yeah, Stephen Williams was fucking Mr. X.
Yeah,
in
he was.
in the X-Files, which is fucking cool. And it's a shame that he only has a couple of lines. I'm also pretty sure that he's in the movie Better Off Dead, uncredited. And he only has like one line. But I'm almost 100% positive that he is in the movie Better Off Dead, which came out in 1981. Nope, it was 1985. Yep, he is the tree trimmer. And in the scene, John Cusack falls into a dump truck and is being driven away. And you see him like he's trimming trees, and he goes, "Man, it's a real shame when people be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that." It's a great line.
Much more recently, he was in the Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Richard Stephen Williams, right?
Yeah.
He was he's the police detective in that.
He's had a much more memorable career than his counterpart in this movie, and yet still has that same kind of like, I know this guy face, but like then you realize that you actually have seen him.
You actually have seen his work. Yeah. He was actually in the show Stumptown too, which stars Kobe Smulders, who was famous from How I Met Your Mother, but also she's in the Marvel movies as Agent Hill. I actually liked Stumptown. I thought it was kind of fun. Also, Jake Johnson's in that as one of the main characters.
So
I know, Stumptown Coffee. No, so she's like a I don't know, like a private investigator. Like she's a former Marine, and she becomes a private investigator. But like her life is like really, like it ain't all like cool action. It's kind of like a, hey, I'm going to be drunk for 3 days and then accidentally solve a crime after I beat up a couple of guys, and maybe one of them deserved it. I actually really liked it. I think it got canceled. I think there was only like 18 episodes, like one season, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool show. I dug it. But anyways, so this is one of the most frustrating scenes. So as Casper Van Dien, as Ethan Walker gets up, he's talking to his wife. He hands her a cute little anniversary card. It's their anniversary. It's now December 19th, the 20th or something. No, what day is it?
A couple days before Christmas.
Oh yeah, it's like the 22nd or 23rd right now.
Yeah.
Because they keep giving us title screens as to what day and time it is. So he was like, "Hey, happy anniversary." Blah, blah. And he was like, "Oh, there was this huge tornado in Steubenville or whatever fucking place they made up. And, or probably is a real place." He was like, "Hey, you're, Deb, your boss is probably going to be calling you, like, be prepared for that." And so she, was like, blah. And then they like get into a fight about like this guy, Logan. He's like, "Is Logan going to be there?" And she's like, "Can we not talk about this right now?" Which, by the way, is the only line she repeats to everybody for the first 45 minutes of this movie, because then she gets to work and talks to Logan, and he's like, "Did you tell him about New York?" And she's like, "Can we not talk about this right now?" And then she talks to her producer, and her producer was like, "Hey, blah, blah, you need to do this thing." She's like, "Can we not talk about this right now?" And I'm like, bitch, do you ever want to talk about anything?
She's just not ready to. I mean, they woke her up at like 3 a.m. and she's just not ready to talk about things.
I can't right now. So before we get into that and everybody kind of get going, first off, I want to say, hi, Caleb. How you doing?
Hi. I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Secondly, we're on social media on Twitter and Instagram at the Nahoit Podcast, on both Twitter and Instagram. So the NHOIT Podcast. Definitely check us out there and follow us. If you're interested in following us more personally, you could follow me at the Michael Fight. That's a mixture of the two of us. Or you can follow Caleb at Caleb Micah, MICAAH. Caleb, where else could they go like via a browser to do a thing?
I'm glad you asked that question.
Me too.
Should you want to, you can visit thenahoit.com. That's THENHOIT.com, where, of course, we have every month our upcoming episodes for the month with links to trailers so you can check them out in advance and information about where you can find them streaming if available. And of course, on there is also our wonderful little contact form where you can reach out and tell us about movies that you want to see. Tell us what your favorite Christmas movie is.
Oh,
Maybe
got
we'll
'em.
watch it.
Maybe we'll watch your Christmas movie.
And of course, you can also head on over to nightshiftradio.com where you can learn about all the shows on the Night Shift Radio Media Network.
Fantastic. That is a lot of cool things. And of course, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Super helpful. We drop episodes and you never know, maybe there'll be a surprise bonus episode coming soon. A wink, wink, wink.
What?
I know. Clear off your calendar. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break and hear from, I think, one of our newest shows, if I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, completely ignore that I just said that.
It's fine.
But I'm pretty sure you'll be hearing a commercial from one of our newest Night Shift Radio fams. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We will be right back.
You're listening to a Night Shift Radio production. Night Shift Radio is a modern media company bringing you shows that entertain, inform, and most importantly, provide an escape. Never Heard of It dives into the world of bad, obscure, and sometimes just weird movies. Follow along with the crew of Set Condition 1 as they experience the 2004 sci-fi hit Battlestar Galactica, one episode at a time. Each week on Left of the Dial, we explore a new record or revisit an old favorite. We'll bring in guests to talk about their own music and the state of the industry. The Superpod Hero Cast. Guys with beers talking about movies with capes. They draw a random comic-inspired movie from Thor's helmet and offer thorough, insightful, and humorous commentary. And once a month, tune into the Storyteller series and get lost in the magic of a good old-fashioned radio drama. Learn more about these fine shows at nightshiftradio.com and subscribe on your favorite platform.
Hello and welcome back.
Christmas time is here.
In the city, all I want from Christmas is you.
I don't want a lot for Christmas.
Spectacular. So when we left, Dr. Walker is being called into his insert whatever the fuck he does job that has something to do with weather, and his wife, Addison Walker, has been called into her job. We learned that she is a news anchor for whatever this town that they live in.
Channel 7.
Channel 7 and for the Fort Worth early area of Texas. I don't know. So she's called in and, she's going to start reporting, and we see, she's there with Logan Haynes, who is the chief meteorologist. And he's there and he's like, hey, there was a tornado, but everything's fine now. Get ready for a nice warm Texas weather on Christmas. And she's like, okay. And in the middle of him reporting this, of course, we learned that, Dr. Walker has gotten to his, to his office. They're analyzing everything, and they're like, and their intern is like, why doesn't the weather service know about this? And they're like, oh, well, because, and they go into their long thing about like, they're still using the old models and not have to do with, the increase in temperatures. They're not factoring in, the increase in temperatures and rising of the sea levels. Like they go through the whole science of talking about climate change and things like that. And he says like, they're still using those old models. If they upgrade, they'll be able to see past this precipitation umbrella, which is down where you'll actually see the elements happening, and they need to do this because they're still going by old models or whatever. So he calls his wife and he was like, yo, there's going to be a lot of fucking tornadoes because there's an echo hook or something. She was like, I can't do this. I can't talk about this right now.
Can we not talk about this right now? Can we talk about this later?
Can we talk about this later? He's like, No, man, like there are literally tornadoes flying all over the place, to which we get a montage of tornadoes dropping down. And I do want to mention this one. So one of the tornadoes drops down, and we see it looks something to the effect of like a I don't know, maybe like storm chasers or something, who are chasing a tornado, and one of them is called Gage, and Gage is played by Ben Garreau. And so Ben Garreau has been a voice actor for a lot of things. He's been in a few things, but for those of you who might be either one on the younger side or may have kids, you will probably most recognize him from the Nickelodeon show Henry Danger, in which he plays the character the Toddler. Because as soon as he pops up on screen, I was like, holy shit, that's the Toddler. 'Cause my kid loves Henry Danger, like she loves watching the show. And he basically plays like a grown man who talks and dresses like a toddler. But he's like a supervillain. But he talks like this the whole time.
God, no.
But in a fun little twist, he's actually in it's kind of creepy, but he's in a relationship with like a large brutish man who's like kind of an idiot. It's very, I don't know, very forward thinking on Henry Danger.
It's a very confusing premise, but
Well, the only reason why they call him the Toddler is he's like 5 feet tall, like he's teeny tiny. So that's the only reason why he's called the Toddler.
See, I would not get away with calling Ellen the Toddler.
No, she would literally murder you. I believe that's
because she's 5 feet tall.
And she's
very small.
She is tiny. But that's okay. And yeah, so I recognize him and I was like, oh shit, it's the Toddler. So Henry Danger fans, there you go. But we get this montage of, people kind of going outside and being like, gee, the weather looks kind of weird. And then a tornado comes and, smashes a train or, blows over a thing. Now, in the meantime, Caleb, what are these kids up to that they have? They have 2 kids. The Walkers do.
Yeah, well,
they have Caitlin and Max.
Caitlin and Max, that's right. Yeah, so Caitlin and Max have school today. It's just before winter break. It's the last day before winter break, so they probably got a lot of work to do. No, parents.
No,
that's not how school works.
Not at all.
They very well could miss that. I say that because there's a moment of concern later where like we need to take the kids out of school, and Addie was like, "It's the last day before break. They've got a lot of work to do."
But like, I'm pretty sure dying from a tornado is more important than your book report.
This, it's amazing how timely this movie feels in every possible way.
Right.
Anyway, Caitlin drives Max to school in her dope ass like 90s Bronco.
Yeah.
And she drops him off and he's like, "Where are you going?" And she's like, "To school." He's like, "You don't have a bag," which like, kid, you got in the truck and left your backpack on. Like,
right.
You have no place to talk because you don't understand how anything works, apparently. But she's like,
Kids.
"You better not tell." Instead of being like, "I don't need a bag. It's the last day before." Or like, you have a built-in cover story.
Right.
Like, I have no work to do. I didn't need a bag today.
Plus, she's presumably at least in like 11th or 12th grade. Like, she's not doing anything.
She's 17, so probably a senior.
Yeah, it's 11th or 12th. I don't know. I was a senior at 17, but I started school a year early. So
yeah, I mean, we graduated at 17.
Oh yeah, we graduated. Yeah, that's right, because we both started early. Yeah, so we were 17 when we graduated. Yeah,
but yeah, so she has a ready-made cover story, but instead she's like, "You better not tell." And
right.
She kicks him out of the car and goes immediately to the mall.
Like you do,
and meets her friend and gets a picture with Santa and talks about boys.
Like you do. The amount of times that I used to go to the mall, get a picture with Santa and talk about boys, I couldn't even count them on one hand.
I mean, I would still be doing that were it not for this damn pandemic.
It's true. Caleb, you and I would be at the mall right now getting pictures taken with Santa and talking about boys. Mind you, we might have had a few beers first, but order of operations, that would have happened as I would have been like, let's go talk to fucking Santa Claus.
Like,
what's that asshole
like
up
some
to?
things change a little bit, but not that dramatic.
But not that dramatic. Right. Oh boy. Yeah, so they head off and we learn, which is I'm still not entirely sure. Like, I understand the idea of like you drop in little things to make everything feel more real. Like it's a writing technique. Like you leave little things, they don't have to serve a purpose to the larger plot. But we learn that the son Max, um, even though he was told not to, took a bunch of tools and made a nativity scene for their front lawn, which is like, this is the most like rebellious, wholesome rebellion possible. Be like, fuck you, mom and dad, I'm gonna go praise Jesus. Like, I don't really understand. like this is the weirdest rebellion thing I could possibly think of. But considering all of the films that Casper Van Dien has been in since, it makes me wonder if he was like, I'll only do this movie if somewhere in there is Jesus.
Somebody rebels for the Lord.
For the Lord. I'm badass for Jesus.
The kid was like, but I wore safety goggles and gloves. And I'm like, yeah, that actually checks out. Like,
Yeah, that's cool. Good.
as long as we wore our safety equipment in chemistry class, we could do whatever the fuck we want. Thanks, Don Stribe.
I'm also really confused of why he was like, hey, I want to make a nativity scene out of wood. I mean, it isn't like this like crazy concoction. It's literally just he just fucking cut stencils of the nativity scene out of wood. And why his parents were like, right. We made sure to point that out. And why his parents were like, no. And then it was like, dude, fucking why? Like, I'm not Christian. And if my like daughter was like really wanting to do a thing, I'd be like, sure, like, let's fucking do it. This sounds like a cool craft activity to do. Like,
with supervision, of course.
With supervision, of course. But I mean, like, my kid's 8 and he's like 15. So like, I don't know. Anyways, so this holds no bearing. So the thing is like, when I see things like this, it's normally like the instances which we talked about this in a previous episode, where someone will be like, oh, those are just my world-class karate trophies. Anyways, we're gonna do a thing, and then eventually you're gonna find out that that karate training is really gonna come in handy. So I'm like, oh, okay, the kid's smart with tools, so that's gonna come in handy. It doesn't come in handy at all. Right. It doesn't come in handy at all. It is so pointless. But it does lay in the fact of him being grounded. Which again,
you know what?
He's grounded for Christmas.
It sets up that he doesn't fucking listen to his parents, and that does that comes around. That comes back.
I guess, but that's, I don't know, man. That's lame.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch.
But that's the best I've got for you.
That's the best you got. This was written by Hans Wasserberger and Peter Sullivan. Guys, you got to call into the show. We have questions.
Listen, I don't want to poke fun at anyone's name, but now I want a burger.
Hans Wasserberger. You don't want a Wahlburger? What are
a Whataburger?
A Whataburger, yeah.
Wahlburger was literally Mark Wahlberg's family, like the
the Whataburger, yeah.
But Whataburger was the chain in Texas. I think maybe I'm wrong. They might have gone out of business this year.
Do you know what burgers I actually really miss? I had them. So I was in San Francisco for like, I don't know, just shy of 2 weeks. And I think I ate In-N-Out like every fucking day. And I miss it so much.
That's what people talk about. No, apparently they did not go out of business. And in fact, we're slated to open a store somewhere in the state of Missouri. This article was in August of this year.
Hey.
So look at that. What a burger.
Only a couple months ago. Whataburger coming to a town near you. if you live in Missouri.
Yeah. I miss there are other burger places that I miss from the San Francisco area. It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, listen, I'm from like upstate, so like I don't have Shake Shack here like they do down in New York, and I love Shake Shack too.
So, okay, we're going there.
We're going there. I've brought it up.
The Shake Shack, the dude, literally, I think he might be from the New York area. Went to college here at WashU. Fell in love with Steak and Shake, which is a wonderful chain where they do the smash burger concept and shoestring fries and whatnot. and shakes and whatnot. And he brought that idea back to New York and made it bougie, which is fine. But he made fucking crinkle cut fries. God damn it! Like you had the
Yeah.
concept ready made for you. Shoestrings are so wonderful. They're so
maybe
wonderful.
maybe that was like the trademark that he was like, yeah, you can copy my homework, but just change it up a little bit. He was like, fuck, I'll change the fries because I copied the burger exactly.
So we have at least one Shake Shack now in this area, and I've been a few times, and it's fine. It's good.
Yeah.
But it's bougie, overpriced steak and shake with worse fries.
That's literally my autobiography. I need you to understand this. Like you just that's my LinkedIn bio. You just described me perfectly.
I almost now want to pull up LinkedIn and see,
See if
believe that's true.
I'm gonna copy paste it. That's gonna be my new LinkedIn bio. Watch me fucking change it. I don't care. Who fucking uses LinkedIn anymore? Anyway, so I don't know. A bunch of tornadoes happen and then the movie's over and no one dies and it's annoying.
So we do have to touch on the fact that at the beginning their intern Chloe, who just seems to not know anything at all, they really play up that she's just some like dumbass college student blonde girl who's there for the credit, and like really like they do her no justice whatsoever. But they she's in this program where they're talking about climate and specifically about storms, and they mentioned that the first tornado is an F2. And she's like, F2, what's that?
What's that? Like,
Jesus
I mean,
Christ. So they explained to her
man.
the basics of the tornado scale and how it is largely based on like the rotational speed of the funnel clouds and blah 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 blah, the power. And she's like, so what's the highest? And they're like an F5. And she's like, is there an F6? Like they literally just told you the highest is an F5.
Right.
And they're like, I mean, that would be like a nuclear bomb going off. It would have to be like 320 miles per hour. I don't know the exact science if it's at all accurate, but like
it's not.
How they explain it to her.
Yeah, they say 318 miles an hour would be what it would be for an F6, but an F6 is actually anything 309 to 379 miles per hour.
See, there you go. And so, of course, the final storm, after they think that everything might be finally safe, the final storm is an F6, and they're like, my God, that's impossible. And like, somebody asked about it earlier. So like, of course it's
also the title of the movie. Like, come on, man. Like it's the alternate title of the movie. Now, and the other thing, so first off, Chloe is played by Madeline Deutsch, who was in the movie The Year of Spectacular Men, which is actually really good. If you haven't seen it, really great coming of age type story. It's on Netflix. Definitely check that out. Really, really cool. But anyways, so like the thing about Christmas Twister is that it's literally the plot of the movie Twister, except you just take out the people element and just like basically pick up the tornado formula of like this tornado, then this tornado, then this tornado, and then the F6 hits. It's the same exact pattern, same exact like how the tornadoes grow and how they happen in succession. It's the same exact thing, formula, and then they just drop it into another place with a different set of people, but it's literally the same exact plot of like a series of tornadoes are happening in an unlikely place in an unlikely season, and only one man can stop them. Like it's that.
You know what's unlikely to me?
This whole movie?
There are like 17 tornadoes in this massive storm system and not a drop of rain to be found.
Not a single drop of rain, hail, nothing. The tornadoes come down in perfectly dry weather, hit, do a thing, and then they just fuck off. And everyone's like, oh, damn, tornado. And it's like, they're storms. Like there is rain and hail and things like that during storms, especially if it's like this, because it's cold front meeting a warm front and opposite direction. Like that's how it turns. Fucking hey.
Remember the time that the Caitlin's wannabe boyfriend was running towards the mall for shelter and somebody locked the door and he couldn't get out and got sucked up by the tornado.
And he got sucked up by the tornado. Oh, a couple of people do die. So Logan,
but like I'm not past the point where like, why would you lock the door? That's not going to keep the tornado out.
Like that, the tornado's like, ah, fuck, this mall's locked. I guess I can't blow over this mall because they locked the door. Damn.
Oh my God.
This tornado's like, ah, shit, move on to the next building. I can't beat a deadlock.
There's one more thing that I have to raise my voice about.
Sure. Yeah.
When Deb, Addie's boss, goes out to make a phone call.
Oh, Deb, you mean the
And-
only person in the movie who speaks in a Texas accent, even though
Yes,
the deep fucking Texas? Got it. Yeah, that
real
person.
thick.
Yeah.
And like she's like, I have a phone call to make, and Addison's like, good luck with that. And she goes outside and like holds up her phone, like the classic, like searching for signal. And there's a big old banner on her phone that says no signal. Immediately above that, you can see 5 fucking bars of signal, like full strength.
You got full strength of bars, Deb. What are you doing with your life?
It just
Oh,
says no signal, but there's clearly a very strong signal.
Oh boy. Yeah, so okay. So at some point, so at Logan keeps our chief meteorologist keeps being like, oh, blah blah. Well, this is just part of the natural cycle, my dude, and you don't need to worry about it. I'm gonna go on air and tell everyone everything's fine. And eventually he gets a camera crew. Now, mind you, there's this whole subplot too about Logan and Addison have been offered a job as a pair, because I mean, that's not how news works. Like, nobody gives a fuck about your chief meteorologist and your anchor. They don't come as a pair. Nobody gives a fuck about them. So like they're gonna get this job in New York, but they want both of them. And she was like, I'm not gonna talk about this right now. And he's like, well, they need to know today. And she's like, I can't talk about this right now. And so eventually he was like, you know, oh, this climate change is wrong. And remember what happened the last time your husband did a thing and he was wrong. And she repeats back the line of, wouldn't you rather be safe than sorry? And he's like,
Yeah.
scoff. And, but I mean, yes, I would, you know? And so he gets a camera guy and he goes up onto the roof of some like, you know, big building, and
Fucking
he's
power plant.
and he's
Goes
shooting
to the
behind
power
him.
plant.
You know, he goes to the power, but yeah, because that's where the which, by the way, that wasn't really a payoff. They were like, oh no, it's heading right to the power plant, but then it kind of doesn't pay off in like a cataclysmic way. Aside
Well,
from
in one of the scenes where like everyone is just running around the newsroom yelling things just so they get their one line in, somebody says something about the power plant being offline, but like there's clearly like nowhere has apparently lost power.
yeah, no, because they all have power. Yeah, the cell phone towers have gone down, but this news station is running up perfectly fine, which I mean, I'm sure they have a backup generator or whatever. But anyway, so he's up on the roof of the power plant and he's got his back to the weather and he's like, this is all just gonna blow over, as you can see. And there's a giant fucking funnel behind him. And he turns around and, you know, the camera guy's like, oh, you gotta look behind you. And he turns around and he looks and he's like, oh, as a giant container comes flying at him and smashes and kills him. And that poor camera guy.
Yeah, that camera guy didn't deserve that. Like he
Yeah.
had a chance to walk away and he didn't.
He didn't. He could have been like, fuck you, dude, I'm out of here. But he did not. Also, note, definitely to reinforce the TV movie thing, no swearing whatsoever in this
Huh.
whole movie. I don't recall anyone ever actually saying a swear word in any way, shape, or form.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Oh, Christums.
Oh, Christums Twister.
Casper
But yeah,
Van
so
Dien was in something called Interns of Field, which is
Oh,
spelled out as an acronym. So it's
it's-
very obviously a
yeah, it
made
was
as
a
a shit
play
about.
on. Yeah, I think he played Hawkeye in that. It was like an Avengers
Hawk-
spoof.
Hawk guy.
Hawkman, yeah, or something like that.
Hawk guy.
Yeah,
he's
Hawkeye.
Hawk guy.
Some good work there, Casper. You need a better agent. So eventually, so I would say the biggest thing about this movie is that the tornado hits the town, and the Walker family dog Ashley makes it out alive. This is the
Pussy.
weirdest, but I love this part. I love dogs, but this is the weirdest part of this movie. So the dog is seen like just kind of like trotting through the wreckage, and it's just kind of like, you know, they're like, and the kid was like, we have to get Ashley, and he was like, go to your grandmother's and I'm going to go get your mom and then we'll go get Ashley and we'll meet you at your grandma's because she has a really good storm cellar and she lives like far away from where the tornadoes are right now. And he's like, oh, but don't forget my dog. And of course he does.
And nobody looks for Ashley.
Nobody looks for Ashley. Yeah. But anyway, so Dr. Walker he pulls his kid out of school and warns the school that he's at to basically seek shelter. So the tornado does in fact hit the middle school where the boy goes, and they're like no fatalities, no injuries because they were all safe, which is great. He goes to the mall after learning that Caitlin skipped school and went to the mall instead to try to rescue his daughter. We see a moment where she actually rescues someone. And, at this point, he finally gets in and he does that stupid thing where he's running through and like, have you seen my daughter? Have you seen my daughter? And people are going to be like, I need more than just your daughter. Like you are not.
I don't know who you are,
like,
sir.
I don't know who you are. I don't know who your kid is, but he does correct his mistake later. So after he tells the son to wait in the car, he goes in and gets the daughter, comes back out to the car, and then the fucking kid leaves because he's like, oh, I'm going to go help. And I'm going to go help. And he goes and he tries to help find this woman's grandpa. And he goes back in. But this time he's like, have you seen my son? He's about this tall with red hair and freckles. Like he describes him in detail. And someone finally was like, oh yeah, he went that way to go help my grandpa do a thing. And then he finds his kid who was, I don't know, he got smashed under something.
Doesn't get him medical attention at all.
None. He pulls him out of the wreckage and the kid was unconscious, by the way. Yeah. And then it's just like, all right, let's go.
I don't think so. I'll carry you. And then like puts him in the car. He's like, all right, now go to your grandma's. Like,
right. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the first responder who comes to help the woman whose grandfather had gone missing, and she was clearly in shock. Walker like calls the guy over. He runs up, and the first thing is, "Are you okay?
Are you okay?"
Like, she's clearly not.
Like, no, literally a tornado blew a mall onto my head. I am not okay. I was at the Gap picking out T-shirts, and then a mall landed on my head. I'm not okay. It was
This is okay.
None of this is okay. The sale ends tomorrow. I'm never gonna get those shirts.
I just needed the shirts.
I just needed those Gap shirts. Old Navy flip-flops. So now he's like, all right, we're gonna go get mom. And he goes to the news station and he rescues, Addison. Well, I guess he just picks her up. And of course, they throw in the story of like a pregnant woman, like kind of almost dying, and he gives her CPR. Like, you're not that kind of doctor, but okay. Cool. And but we'll still call him doctor though, because he is a doctor. Because he earned the title. My girlfriend has a doctorate. I call her Dr. Hauser all the time.
You should.
I do.
If you don't, you're wrong.
I know. It's just the proper thing to do.
What? Sharktopus versus whale wolf.
You stop right now. We are not going to be derailed any further. So anyways, the F6 hits, it blows up the whole town. Mrs. and Dr. Walker make out a whole bunch of times, and it's really awkward because they do it a lot in front of their children for the rest of the movie, and it's very weird. And then you see them flipping burgers in the remnants of their home, and surprise twist ending, who is still alive but Ashley Walker, the family dog, comes trotting back in like, hey everybody, I'm alive. The end.
She got out just before the family house was destroyed and then had herself a little adventure. I would watch the story of Ashley escaping the tornadoes.
I would bet that would be a much better movie.
3 years later, Fire Twister. I'm not even joking.
Oh yeah, so Casper Van Dien's actually been in 3 natural disaster movies. What is it? Yeah, he also starred in 500 miles per hour, a 500 mile per hour storm, and Fire Twister. 2013. So a year later, he did 500 mile per hour storm, and then he did Fire Twister.
Amazing.
So a 500-mile-per-hour storm, that's like an F7
Dude has
or an
like
F8.
flowy hair and like a really rugged short beard in this too.
Oh, dang.
Like it's a good look for him.
It is a good look for him. Yeah, good for Casper Van Dien. He's getting work, I
Oh
suppose.
my god. The poster for 500-mile-per-hour storm is also epic.
Oh God. I don't even want to. But yeah, so Christum's Twister, also known as F6 Twister, is currently playing for free on Tubi TV or also on Prime Video. Should you watch this movie?
Fuck yes.
Yeah, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
So
but if you're
stupid.
looking for a good like natural disaster film, no, don't
This
watch
ain't
this
it.
movie. Like this ain't it. This ain't it, my dude. Sorry. Like you're not going to get good special effects. You're not going to get good action at all. In fact, no action, barely any action actually takes place during the twisters. It's like the funnel comes down and then we just basically jump to the aftermath of it. Like nothing, like there's no cool, like, I'm going to outrun the twister and like hold on for dear life while it almost sucks me in the, like none of that happens. There is no real action in this movie. Like the biggest scene that happens in this movie is the train being sucked up and then like dropped into the twister thing. That's it. Like that's the most action in this movie. It is very much not an action film.
Which
in
honestly, I
sense.
think is very much an argument in favor of High Speed Rail because I feel like High Speed Rail would have absolutely outrun that twister.
Yeah, no, it totally would have. It would have been like,
Texas, get your shit together. You get that High
Speed.
Speed Rail.
Get that high speed rail, son. Yeah. So again, watch it on Tubi TV or Prime Video if you so choose. But that's it. That's the episode. So our next one is gonna be. Are we gonna drop it? There'll be a bonus episode, but our next regular scheduled Sunday film is actually a film by the title of White Coats, which is seemingly a ripoff of the show Scrubs. So I'm really excited to check it out because it literally is like Scrubs. But I think this one came first. So we'll have to check it out.
Aykroyd.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd. But if you haven't subscribed, I would, because you never know. Maybe there'll be another episode in between now and then. A wink, wink for those of you on YouTube watching. Wink, wink. But thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye out into your subscription box to see if something drops. But other than that, for anyone celebrating other holidays, happy holidays, and for the rest of those celebrating, happy Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas to all. And to all a good night.